everybody. It's Diane, the Creative Inkster, and it is Monday, November 22nd, 2021, and I am here for Mystery Card Monday. I'm going to make probably 4 cards, I think. 3 cards, and one that I'm actually going to prep a bit from scratch. So I hope you've had a really good week. This is the night where you let me know that you're here by leaving me a comment. And if you're watching the replay, thank you for doing that too. And what I do is put together some cards. So I threw out a layout or a set of pieces to have available yesterday. And if you've cut ahead, that's great. If you haven't, I'm just going to go over those pieces here easily. So you need a standard card base. So this is 8.5 by 5.5. Scored in the middle at 4 1/4, and it makes a card that goes either this way or this way. I'm going to have a little bit of both. You need a card base that's a card layer that's 4 by 5 1/4, and embossed is fun. So I have embossed this piece with the evergreen embossing folder. And then just a strip of patterned paper, whichever side you want to put up. This piece is 1 by 5 1/4, so it's going to fit on that layer. And this I need for die cutting. And then just a piece for your greeting, whatever you want that to be. It can be a square, it can be a circle, it can be a strip like this, depends on what your greeting is. And then some kind of die cuts or punches that you can put on the front of your card. So I have started by getting some pieces together here, and I think I'm going to be one-handed crafting because it seems I have an anxious little doggy sitting here beside me, not so little, who seems to want me to pet him. As soon as I move my arm away to try to work on something with 2 hands, he knocks my elbow. So we're going to see how this is going to go tonight. So welcome to my fun world. I was working from the office today at City Hall, and I'm working about 3 days a week from home, and he just loves that. He's like down here with me in my office area, hanging out, and just quite so happy to have me at home. So when I'm not at home, he has these moments where he'd rather I be there, and he becomes a bit clingy. So, all right, can you go lie down somewhere? There you go. Go lie down somewhere. And let Mommy get on to crafting, okay, dude? If he was just a little taller, you'd actually see him in this. All right, so first things first, tell you about this layout that I chose. So the card was one that I did at Alison Okamitsu's event in early November. I think it was the 10th of November. And it was one of her card layouts. I just used the same basic pieces. With the front and your die cuts and your punches being the piece that can constantly change it up and make them all look a little different. So I really like this one. I thought it was great as a card class card and perfect for Mystery Card Monday. So that is what I'm following. Hi Debbie, welcome. Glad to have you here. And so yeah, that's where the idea comes from. Sometimes I search maybe just images. I don't usually go to Pinterest, although I'm sure those can come up, but I'll just go onto a Google Images search, put Stampin' Up! And card layouts or simple card layouts or things like that. That's how I get my ideas to find ones. And you can also, of course, put the stamp set in there. As demonstrators, we also have lots of ways that we can get information and ideas for ourselves. So let's get going with this first layer. Do I want to put ribbon on it? I don't think it needs ribbon. I'm going to do a little die cutting too. I brought my Stamp and Cut and Emboss over here with me, so I can do a little bit of that. Let's get this lovely embossed layer down. Very pretty. One thing I'd recommend when you've got an embossed layer and you're sticking it down, dry embossing raises the paper, right? And so sometimes what happens is your glue does not get in between all the little creases from the embossing. So I use liquid glue for it instead of a tape runner type of adhesive. And then I flip it over and press it down from the back side. And that helps it adhere nicely. A little bit better anyway. I've gotten a little bit of adhesive on that. Let's get that off. So has anyone started their Christmas shopping yet? That seems to be a big thing right now. I don't know if I've asked that before, but I finally got started on Friday. Hey Vicki, welcome. Finally got it together, and I spent Friday night mostly on Amazon. So what we do as a family, where am I going to put this layer? I think near the bottom. What we do as a family is we have a Google spreadsheet that my daughter created, and we have a tab for each person in the family, the 5 of us. And in that tab, you put what you'd like, sort of the price range, or better yet, a link to the item that you want. And then past that, there's a section with everybody's name, and that's where you put what you've purchased for somebody. So you don't go into the pages that you see where people have put what they purchased, because you're going to ruin the surprise for yourself. So it works out really, really well because, and you don't take it off, right? You don't take it off the list because then someone would know that it got purchased. So we try to keep this as much of a surprise as possible, seeing as we share an Amazon account. You know, it's kind of hard to do that. It's kind of an unwritten rule in our family. During this time of year, one does not go into the Amazon account and look at the orders, because you'll see what's been bought for other people. But it works, and then people get kind of what they want for Christmas or birthdays. Like, we keep this thing going all year long. Just focusing as I do my stamping. Lovely. And yeah, so it kind of works out well for us as a way to get people what they want for Christmas. And then you can build things in there during the year too if you see something. And it was in that list, looking at my daughter's list of things that she wanted, that I saw something called a Faraday Box, F-A-R-A-D-Y. Has anyone heard about what that is? I had never heard that term before. And it turns out it is an RFID protected container, and some of them are pretty small, like they would hold up to 4 key fobs. The idea is that it's a thing, apparently, to assume that most people keep their keys by their front door. If you keep your keys by the front door, then your car is parked not far away, and they have these tools or these electronic things that can pick up the signal of your key fob to your car and can steal your car. Who knew? So I thought this was a neat idea. So you literally, then you can put your key fobs. I mean, I suppose the other thing is you could put them in your bedroom, but I don't know how far these things reach. But you put the key fob in your Faraday box, and then from there, you grab it out of there, and that protects your signal. I had no idea such a thing existed, but I am now informed. So I saw them on Amazon, of course, things on Amazon, and they really range in price, because some people have them for even their computer, like their laptops and other things that they want to protect. But I'm thinking even the smaller one, I thought that I saw them for as low as like 20 bucks, and then up there upwards of quite a bit more. Of course, it's like anything else, right? You can spend as much as you want on anything, because that's just the way things work. But I thought it was kind of a neat idea and decided to add it to my own list because it's something I may wish to have to protect. Okay, where'd your card go, Diane? There it is. If you've heard of this, let me know. I thought it was quite interesting. So now I wish on this card, when I die cut these out yesterday, that I'd use adhesive on the back, like our adhesive sheets. That would have made gluing this down a whole lot less messy, but I'm pretty good with my liquid glue. And I don't have my sponge out. Normally I would have my sponge. This has a lot of small pieces to add the glue to, but normally I'd have my sponge out, and I could sponge this on my craft sheet, and then the glue doesn't get everywhere. Okay, so there's a couple of little pieces to poke out yet. Die cutting works great, and they pop out very easily, but there's the odd one that just wants to hold on. I mean, they're not difficult to get out, they're just still loosely in there. Okay, come on. There we go. Okay, so update on Riley. He has gone and laying down, so he no longer needs me to pet him through my entire broadcast here. Should look up because I'm busy gluing. Let's see if there's any more comments. Oops, scroll down. So I wish this scrolled down on its own, but it doesn't do that. Nope, there isn't any more comments to worry about right there just yet, because you're all busy working on your cards, right? Or scrolling or doing something else. So I learned what a Faraday box was. I feel enlightened. Okay, so I'm going to put this down here. I like this white. I'm using white, basic white, and gold accents. It's quite pretty. But it jumped up off the paper. Back you go down there. There we go. Maybe better flip this guy over and press it from the back to hold it in place. Stampin' Up! Has put out its list of products that will be retiring from the mini catalog. So it's a like get it now or you won't. But the good news about that is that means that another catalog's coming out January the 4th for customers, and as well we have Celebration, which means every $60 you get a free item. Couldn't be a better time to shop. Now, if you want to get your hands on the new stuff even sooner, you just need to be a demonstrator. So our recruiting promotion is still on. You can get the starter kit right now for $100, and that means you pick out $165 worth of product. Tax and shipping are included. You get a lovely bundle of business supplies that you can use, and you get a fabulous deal, because here in Ontario, the $165 with tax and shipping comes to, oh, I think like $210, and you're only going to pay $100 for it. So, like, that's a good deal. And then, because of joining in November, you can get in on the pre-order, which I'm putting 9 little dots here. The pre-order for this January to June starts December the 3rd. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry, I'm counting how many little dots I'm putting down here for some decoration. So give that a thought if you're not already a demonstrator. There'll also be a promotion during Celebration to join as well, but I think it's been quite a while since it was as low as this. When I joined in 2010, the starter kit was on, it was over 200 to begin then, and I think I paid 112 or something weird like that. It's a great deal. Half price, yeah, it must have been. That sounds about right. This is as much work as coloring here. I have punch or die cut out these really tiny red circles, which are like holly, and I'm just popping them onto my wreath die cut here to decorate. They're so tiny, but my take your pick tool has been wonderful. It's just picking them up with the putty end. There's a little bit of putty on this, and it's picking them up really easily. So problem is I'm a couple short, so let's get that piece out here again and cut a few more. I think as I was working with this, I might have knocked a few of these teeny tiny ones onto the floor. So let's get a couple more cut out. Oh yes, when I was talking about the stamp sets and such that are retiring, some are carrying over. Some products do carry over. Some products carry over into next year's holiday catalogs. So they'll be back as returning favorites next year, which will be fun again. So it'll be gone for good. But some of the ones are leaving, and that can be disappointing. We will miss them. But I'll be sending that list out, posting that list here on my page, so you can get it in an Excel format, and then you can download it and check it against your stock and figure out which ones you really want to still invest in before they're gone for good. A few items are discounted, not a lot. I'll tell you, many of the items that are discounted are the French bundles and such. You know, they do it based on inventory levels, and so if something has been selling not so well and they've got a lot of it, well then they'll have it as a discounted item. But if something is in continuous flux of supply, well then they will not be discounting that one. And that just makes good business sense, right? We'd all do that too if we were running the business. Okay, so I'm flagging the ends of my card here with my greeting on it. Just going to add a little bit of interest to that, and also because it doesn't need to be quite so long. There we go. This card's turning out really nicely. Alrighty, get the dimensionals. This is the stamp set I'm using, Sparkle of the Season. It has dies. It's retiring. I'm sad because I really did like this one. So it'll probably stay in my stash, my personal stash, for a little while longer. So Riley, if you need to go on upstairs, why don't you just go? He's standing at the base of the stairs here and trying to decide if he's going to go up or not. Okay, and this does need a little bling, this card. So let's add a few rhinestones to sparkle it up a little bit. Tonight I don't have to rush off because our bridge club has moved to 7:30 from 7 o'clock, giving me a little bit of breathing room. That's kind of a nice thing. Oop, come on. Where will this one go? Yeah, maybe right there. Okay. All right. I like this card. This one might end up being a swap card for my team. I like it that much. Oh, but I can't. I have to change the paper because this was like the last fully 5 1/4 inch long piece of this pretty Christmas paper that I have in stock. That's okay. We can change it up a little bit. All right. Moving on to the next card. How are you doing? Are you playing along, or are you just listening, or have you tuned me out? Just checking in to see if anyone's out there having dinner or whatever. All right, so this one I'm going to do vertically. One of the ideas about using this layout with the 1-inch strip of paper was that some of our embossing folders are not fully 4 1/4 or 4 1/2 inches wide. Some of them are a little bit thinner, and they fit through our mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which is great. But you've got that area where you don't have any embossing, so it's kind of nice to have that strip of pattern paper along the edge to make it look like there actually is embossing behind it, and that you haven't just missed it. So I'll show you what I mean when I show you the actual cards from tonight. This one, this embossing folder I'm using here actually does have embossing across the whole 4-inch wide piece. Just lining up my pattern paper there. Lovely. And then, oh yes, I know I was going to do some trees. So I haven't used Perfectly Plaid in a little while. I remember using it for, if it's matching tree punch. I remember using it for something a month ago at least, and so it's time. This paper goes really well with old olive, so perfect. Let's see how that, give the stamping a little go. So I'm going to grab my stamping mat, because I'm using this photopolymer stamp, and it doesn't always push back up well when you just use it on the table. It's a much better image if you're using something underneath it. So that's what I'm doing, is the Stampin' Pierce mat going with it. So I'll do a couple of different trees maybe. Let's try this one too. Okay, and this tree actually has the tree you can do in green, and then there's some other little flecky things that go through it. And I can do them in a different color, or I can do them in a different shade of green entirely. Let's see, how will this one turn out right over top? Let's do green and another shade of green. So old olive and garden. Oh no, I got a better idea. Old olive and Cool Party, which seems like a weird combination, but that's what's on this paper. So hey, let's go with what's on the pattern paper. Let it do the work for us to figure out the color scheme. Okay, so you can just faintly see it underneath. Nice, I like that. Should I do a third tree? I don't know if there's room for a third tree. Let's get these punched out and make that decision on the fly here. So something else you can do with your Take Your Pick tool is, you'll see I have a small piece of white that I'm working with, but when I stick it in the punch, I don't have enough to hold on to it. If I use my Take Your Pick tool, I can use that to line up so that I know where to punch it. We used to add a sticky note to the edge of the paper, and that works too, but this saves on the sticky note. Wherever you can have a savings, right? I should just do a video on using your Take Your Pick tool. There are so many cute little things to do with it. Okay, so then, yeah, let's do a third tree. What is this stick? Oh, I don't think I've used that one before. That must go on the bottom. Yeah, kind of goes on the bottom of it. Let's use the other one just for fun. Scrap piece of paper here. We'll do this one just in Pool Party. Let's see how that turns out. And it'll be a little bit different color scheme. But we can work with that, right? So that's 1, 2, the 3 different trees in this set. Oop. I wonder if I can add that to it. Ooh, there's a neat idea. Let's try that. I'm just having a good fun play with this. Did you see the white fluffy stuff out there today? Holy moly. That was a lot of a snow coming down at a time, but then it did settle down. The sky definitely looked like we were going to get some more. Somebody was saying there were snow squall warnings for sort of northern Wellington area. Up north, yikes. I always think back to my Homewood co-workers who work up in North Wellington and have the worry of the traveling up there when we get some inclement weather. And of course our clients as well. I think this little stamp in here is for the stump of the tree. So that's what we're going to do. Let's see how that turns out. And if I dislike it so much, I can make it the one that hides near the back. There's always a way around this. And we'll punch this tree out. There we go. Alrighty, 3 trees to go onto my card. And they do tend to go quite nicely with the paper. Okay, and then a greeting, well, just the Merry Christmas. That one fit on the scrap, yes, perfectly. So let's add that with some cool cards. A beautiful Christmas card. Merry Christmas. If you got your decorating done, we haven't got our decorating done. I'm honestly not the best at that. I try to get the Christmas decorations up, but I need to really have the day and say I'm going to do this, and got to set that time aside. I think these guys need to pop up on dimensions. Well, maybe not the center. Well, let's put it on all of them. Why not? So we have our tree to put up. I've got a wreath to put out on the door. Actually, both doors. There's wreaths for both doors. It's been quite a few years since I've had outside lights up. Not that much, because I'm the kind of person who will go to bed and forget about them, and not, I guess you could put them on a timer and completely forget about them. You are creating your Christmas cards. Oh, wow, I know you started them a few weeks ago. Wow, Vicki, I remember you telling me you had 8, I think, done, or 6 or 8 done. Completed 7 earlier today using Feels Like Frost. Oh, that was very pretty. You need close to 75. Wow, you are ambitious, my friend. Okay, I am ready to mark these ones as done. I'm going to just trim a little bit off the paper here with my scissors, make that a little bit smaller. You know what? I'm going to hand cut this one out. Kind of like doing that every once in a while, rather than having so much white space. Just cutting around the greeting and having it sort of flow against the darker layer underneath. 75 is a good number of cards to send out. Wow. I think we should all be thinking about getting those out in the mail sooner than later. It may not be the year to be waiting till the last minute. And I think more rhinestones would be the ticket on these ones. I don't know if you know this, but for parcels, not that anyone would be ready in October, but in October there's a free parcel package every week. You can send one package free of charge by Canada Post. So probably not international, that I'm not sure about, but within Canada anyway. And so good to know, every Tuesday in October. I don't know that that's a well-known fact. Okay, this guy is done. Need to fix this greeting here. That's better. Okay, and on to the next one. I'm going to do a little die cutting with this guy too. I embossed some beautiful birds from this Beauty of Tomorrow stamp set and die. I just got this one. It's in the fall catalog, and promptly lost the bird from it. But I was lucky enough to find it, and found it attached to the back of one of my ink pads. It's usually the place that they go and get stuck. So I'm going to die cut out these 3 embossed birds. Now whether I use them all on the card or not, I'm not sure. But I wanted to have 3 available to do. So they're gold embossed on vanilla. So if you like to do heat embossing, or you like a wow, this is a great thing to do, is heat embossing. You need a heat tool. Some people have tried to use a hair dryer. It doesn't work. It doesn't get hot enough and concentrated enough. So the heat tool is about $40, I believe, $39, $40. And you need embossing powder, and we sell 2 groupings of them, either a 3-pack of basics, which is black, white, and clear for $24, or a package of metallics, which is silver, copper, and gold, for also $24. We used to sell them all singly. So this is actually a little bit better because you get your grouping together. And so you need a heat tool and your embossing powders and a Versamark ink pad. That is what you need to have successful heat embossing. But it packs a real wow from a really large image or a greeting. Shelley Gardner, who's the CEO and co-founder of Stampin' Up, she's big on heat embossing and her greetings, and so that makes that look quite lovely. Large images, or even small things like the birds I'm doing here. It packs a wow. And the bottle of any embossing powder lasts forever. I store mine in a square Rubbermaid container, not Rubbermaid, Ziploc, like from the dollar store, little square ones, where you get like 3 for $3 or 3 for $2, something like that. And I have these little spoons that I put in there. You could put like regular little plastic throwaway spoons, but I got these, they were for sundaes, but they're like really tiny, so they fit in that box perfectly. And so then you just scrape and flick your powder on top of it, and then tap it off back into your container, so nothing goes to waste. It's not like you have to worry about wasting it. Whatever you don't use, whatever doesn't stick to the glue on the Versamark, or the stickiness of the Versamark, goes back into your pot to use with the next one. This is more of a fall card. This beautiful stamp set and its coordinating paper. And I'm going to use the greeting, some people are just likable, and on the inside I can put, you're one of those people. It has a beautiful, huge die, which I have yet to use. Look at how big this is. Look, in comparison to the piece of paper. It's bigger than the piece of paper even. It's beautiful. let's get some stamping going here. I'm using Rich Razzleberry. One of the first, between Old Olive and Rich Razzleberry, one of the first ones I think I got ever. Some people are just likable. So to get this greeting on there, because it's not in a straight line, some letters are bigger than others, I'm using a piece of paper which is 1 inch wide. I may be able to cut it down a little bit from there though. Or I might hand cut this one out again. Or maybe not. And then on the inside I will put, some people are just likable, and the inside, you're one of those people. It's always a little scary to be stamping inside the card because you don't have a line to be sure you're absolutely straight. But if it doesn't go in straightly, if it doesn't go in straight or is smudged or that, just cut a piece of 4 by 5 1/4, restamp it and stick it over top on the inside. So you've got, it's like you've got an extra layer on the inside. Sometimes I do that. I write on, if I'm writing cards to people, I will write on a layer and glue it on the inside so that I don't mess up my beautiful card if my penmanship is not up to snuff that day. And I can't imagine when that happens, but it does. I don't have the nicest penmanship. One of the ladies on my team, Marilyn, has beautiful handwriting. She wrote for one of her grandchildren's weddings all of the table, all the names for the table, all the little cards. All right, where's the card? There we go. Cut this down just a little. There's going to be lots of glitter with gold embossing on this one. Lots to make it look pretty. And I've also cut one of the leaves from the fern. Forever Fern is the stamp set, and then these are the dies that go with it. I don't use the stamp set much, but boy, I like these leaf and bush and sort of sprigs of greenery as a nice focal point. So I'm going to flip that over and press it with this part of my hand, just the heel of my fist, if you will, just to apply it nicely there. And we'll add some dimensionals to the greeting. Pop this guy up a little. Oh, there we go. Some people are just likable. I'm going to put all dimensionals on all 3 of these and see how I like them. I embossed birds in flight. These also remind me of what would be nice for a sympathy card or a thinking of you card. Oh, the birds all go in the same direction. So, maybe it's too much. Yeah, might be too much. Maybe 2 is enough. Okie dokie. 2 is enough is right. This guy floating up. There we go. Very pretty. So then I've got an extra one, so I'll just tuck that in my card, or my stamp set, and then when I'm looking for one, it's already done. I've got it there already. Okay, so there's this card done. Lovely. Okay, and I'm going to try one on the fly. I just grabbed a stamp set and some papers to work with. So the stamp set I chose was Snowflake Wishes. It's one of the ones that was in last year's fall catalog and is a returning favorite for this year. It was actually in the annual too, I think. So let's cut a piece. I grabbed a couple of different pattern papers, but I think this one's the one I'm going to go with. Let's see what's in here. It's Misty Moonlight, the color that I like. I'm just going to find a piece. This will work. So cut this to 1. I didn't emboss it, did I? So that's okay. By 5 1/4. Just gonna put this piece on here. Oh, I've got an idea. I've got an idea. We are going to emboss this. Let's see if I can get this up here and do this sandwich. To take this piece out, and I need my, where is it? There it is. My mat. So this is the silicone mat. I'm going to use it to emboss this. Let's cut a piece of 4 by 5 1/4. And let's do some embossing with dye. So I did this as a Technique Tuesday idea. And you basically use your dies that would normally cut out and use them as sort of an embossing motif. So I'm going to have them here. There's enough beautifully created ones to make this work with beautiful embossing with lots of layers. Let's just get these the way that I want. Move that guy in a little bit, this guy around. There we go. And I need the top piece. Where is it? There it is. I had to sit down. I couldn't see it for looking. Let's see how this turns out. That embossed through? Yeah. Yeah, baby, that looked good. Ooh, I like that. Can you see that? I'm not sure how well that's going to show through. Just looks like a white piece of paper, but trust me, there are some snowflakes on there. So let's try it on the blue paper and see if it turns out more obvious. Let's see. We need a piece that's 4 by 5 1/4. Maybe we'll add a little shim so that this is just a little bit more pronounced. I feel like that's going to be too much of a shim, but let's give it a try and see what happens. Right. We can sacrifice if something goes wrong. Alright. I'm excited to see how this is going to turn out. Yeah, no, it's going to be too much. It's too thick with that piece. So we'll take plate number 2 out. I'm using the base plate, an acrylic plate, my, oh, my, sorry, base plate, acrylic plate, the silicone mat, a piece of paper, designer series paper, and a piece of, and the dies on top, a little piece of paper as a shim, and then another acrylic plate on top. Oh, that gives it a little bit more pressure, I think. Let's see. That's pretty. Oh, that turned out really well. Can you see that? See the snowflakes on the paper? Oh, it turned out so nice. I love it. Okay. Now, back to the card base. 10 to 7, so I want to rack this up before 7. Add this on here. And let's see, some pattern paper. Nah, we don't need pattern paper on this, do we? No, it'll take away too much from it. No, we're just going to glue it down. Okay, so this one's a little different than, actually, I'll do the opposite. I'll put a piece of maybe white on the edge instead. So instead of an embossed layer with a piece of designer series paper that's 1 inch, I'll do the other way around. Let's see. We'll use this. It's not really the right color, is it? How about, I think Bonnie Blue is too light. Oh yeah, it's not the right color at all. So definitely need to go with Misty Moonlight. Out of my scrap bin here. A piece of Misty Moonlight. We'll cut it down to 1 by 5 1/4. And add some interest to it because it's just going to be a white piece. I need to add something to it. What should we add to it? I have a couple of ideas. Maybe we'll just do some stamping. There's an idea. Get one of those lovely snowflakes. And Misty Moonlight. Good thing my stuff is right close at hand. Just do a bunch of stamping around. Dress this up a little bit. Needs a little more up here, down here. It's kind of doing the opposite. Okay, I'm not loving it. I think the DSP has to go on this one, I'm afraid. It's just not working for me. Okay, keep that piece for something else. Alrighty, and then I have some embellishments for this guy right over here. These are our wonderful snowflakes. So they're beautiful, shimmery on one side snowflakes. I'm just going to pull one out here to show you. They're shimmery on one side. Shiny and shimmery. The other side's flat, and you can sponge it to whatever color you want. And then you can add your greeting to it. Beautiful. And we'll get a little greeting going. Let's see, maybe that would be a way to use this. No, it's Still don't like it. I want to do white. And we'll do a little greeting from this stamp set. Snowflake Wishes for a Merry Christmas. That sounds perfect. And the Misty Moonlight. Very pretty. Tuck that guy away. And we need some sparkle. Just too plain without it. So I've got that there. This is a pretty large. Now this greeting needs to be cut by hand too, I think, just to help it take away some of that excess white and let our beautiful snowflake show through. The words on top are in a scripty font, so that makes for lovely cutting around it. The bottom is more straight edge, so I haven't done, I've sort of mostly left that straight edge. There we see, I take off all of that white. It may not look like much, but it makes a big difference on the card front. And you don't have to be able to cut extremely carefully with your scissors. You know, you can be a little bit whimsical with that. So don't feel like you have to be perfect in cutting it. It should just turn out nicely for you. Okay, we'll just put this on here, get the rhinestones. Coming up 52 minutes. We do actually have some blue, pretty blue rhinestones, but I got these ones out and I think they're just going to do great for this. And then I will show you my end result. I don't think I like that guy there. It looked like a good idea, but no. I've just put 2 more to make 5. So when I put rhinestones on, I typically put 3, 5, or 7, but never just 2. Not an even number. Okay, that guy's done too. So that's the one done on the fly tonight. With just me grabbing something because it's close. It's not close at hand to grab all the paper and such over there. But we are done. Let me show you my cards. So thank you for watching, and if you're watching the replay, be sure to leave me a note so I know you were here. This was the original card designed by Allison Okamitsu for the Frosted Gingerbread Bundle class. So that's because this embossing folder here that she used, part of the wintry ones, only goes across about 3 1/4 inches. And so you need to, otherwise this is a straight edge, you want to fill it in. So there's a piece of pattern paper there and then some embellishments on it or some stamped images. So I use that as my sample. This is my first one tonight, and I flipped it on its edge to make it landscape. Hold it up so you can see the embossing. Thanks, Debbie. And I just love this wreath from Sparkle of the Season. They're very pretty. And I think that's one of my last pieces of that pattern paper. Then the next one I did was this one with some cherry cobbler and some trees in not so traditional colors. There's Pool Party and Old Olive and just the Merry Christmas. And that's from the Perfectly Plaid stamp set. And then a little bit more of a all year round type card. Some people are just likable, and on the inside it says, you're one of those people. I think many people are likable, but there you have it, some embossing in gold. And then the last card, Snowflake Wishes. So this is where I took the DSP, the blue, and I ran it through the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine with a different size sandwich to allow those snowflake dies to emboss but not cut through. And then I added a rhinestone, or a wonderful snowflake and some rhinestones. Okay, thanks for watching. I will be here tomorrow. I know I said that last week, but I honestly will be here tomorrow. I have a project to share with you, a fun fold card for Technique Tuesday, so hang on to your hats to learn that one. Hi, Glenda, thanks for popping in. And if you want to make these cards and choose the layout, please, I'll post these up on the page and ask you to add your creations there. I always love to see what you're doing. And that's about it for me. It's a wrap. Have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.